Hello everyone and welcome to the first episode of Behind the Desk, a podcast all about my experiences in a recording studio as a student. Hopefully I'll be able to give you my perspective on things and tell you what it's really like to work in a studio. My name's John and let's get started. So just to give you a bit of a backstory of how I got to where I am today. Basically I do a music tech course at university and I'm currently in my third year. Now, in a third year of a sandwich course, you basically get a chance to do something called a placement, and that's basically going into industry and working in industry for about a year. I applied for a job at Loft Music Studios in Newcastle, and I luckily managed to get a job there, and that's where I'm currently working at the moment. So after an interview, a world pandemic, and lots of cups of tea, here I am today. And I think it's super cool, the chance that I get to work in a studio with the desk and the preamps and the microphones and all that stuff, as well as being able to take charge of recording sessions. I even get the chance to mix tracks for people that come in, and we get all sorts of people coming into the studio itself. I mean, I'm talking anyone from rappers, songwriters, and hopefully bands in the future, when lockdown's kind of eased and we don't have to socially distance as much. In future episodes, I'm going to try dive deep into areas and aspects like recording a session, or the mix process, or the mastering that we do. But today, I just wanted to give you a quick overview of just a normal day in the studio, really. And that's what this podcast is all about, just giving you an idea of what to expect when you work in a recording studio, or give you a taste if you're interested in this kind of industry. Because I know when I started getting into all this, I didn't know what to expect at all. I didn't have any experience in the industry, and all I knew was what school told me. Which is fine for the basics, but doesn't really tell you everything. Like how many stairs you have to walk up to get to the studio every morning, or what to do when the computer crashes. There's some things that you just need to experience hands-on. But obviously, not everyone has the chance to do this, so this might be the next best thing. A chance to listen to another student, or a noob, if you like, just starting up in the business, and hearing what I do and the things that I get to work on could be pretty cool and pretty interesting for you. I hope and give you an idea of what this industry, or particularly a recording studio, is actually like. So if you want to hear more from me, show your support by liking this podcast, or you can see what I'm up to on Facebook at www.facebook.com/Wellesley Media, or you can check us out on Instagram at Wellesley Media. Anyway, back to the studio. More specifically, what happens in the studio on a day-to-day basis. Now, one of the cool things about this job is that every day is different. You're not doing the same thing day in, day out. You're not sat on a computer for hours on end just typing away, just random accountant things or something like that. No, there is actually different things that you do every day, but there is a few things that stay pretty consistent. For starters, going in on a morning and turning off all the alarms, which personally was a weird thing for me. First of all, I actually have responsibility. I've been given keys and everything, which is great. But there's also a slight pressure with responsibility, because you don't want to get things wrong. Like the alarms, for example. I got it wrong on the first day, so I just kept pushing buttons furiously until the big siren stopped, which is probably not ideal, but you learn very quickly not to do that again. Or at the very least, what not to do to make the big sirens go on for ages. And I think that's one of the good things about my placement in general, or just my experience in the studio, is the fact that I actually have responsibility pretty much straight away. I think it's nice to see that the bosses basically trust you to do something straight away, which is cool, but also slightly terrifying. But again, you get over it pretty quickly. Now, once you're inside the studio, it's pretty much mundane tasks, really. Maybe you're checking the emails for bookings, or it might be tidying up a little bit before, people come in and record. But the real fun is when we have a session on. and it's different depending on who's coming in, but most of the time you'll need to set up the vocal microphones and stuff, patch it properly into the wall, and then plug it in the patch bay, set it up properly, put it into the preamps properly, create a new Cubase project, which is the DAW we use in the studio, and also just load any backing tracks or any tracks that they've sent you via email beforehand, which might seem like a lot if you've never done it before or familiar with the process, but after a few times you kind of get the hang of it, and it's pretty easy to do, in my opinion anyway. I mean, I had another intern show me what to do for like 2 weeks straight, which was really helpful because he knew what he was doing straight away, but also didn't explain things to the point of confusion. You know what I mean? Like, maybe you've experienced this before, where you've had like a teacher or a lecturer who explains things in really technical terms, or they explain things that are like 100 miles an hour, and then you can't keep up because you just get lost immediately. So then you end up having a look of confusion for the rest of the conversation. People like that suck for me, especially when they're teaching me something, because I need things explained simply and slowly. And I also learn pretty good by just doing it, like physically doing it. But it might be a bit different for other people, and if it is, let us know. But like I said before, another intern trained me, and he was really good because he explained things almost in layman's terms almost. Like, enough to make sense, but not so much that it goes over your head. And it wasn't patronising either, which I really appreciated. I think if someone can teach you or show you something in a studio, it's very helpful. And I think most people will help you out in a studio, because overall in this industry, everybody's pretty chill. Like, my bosses are pretty chill, the other interns pretty cool, and even the clients are usually like pretty calm and understanding about things. Overall, just nice human beings. And that's really it for a normal day. That, like, something that continuously goes on day in, day out. I mean, other things happen, of course, and there is little jobs that you have to do here and there. But I also have a chance to help out with other businesses within the building, like running the karaoke style sessions and helping with the record label. But I can go into more detail about that on another day. If you want to ask any questions about my experience in the studio, then feel free to message me down below, or you can check us out on Facebook at Wellesley Media. The link to that will be in the description below. So, I think that's about it for today's podcast. I'm a little bit shorter, but just to give you an idea of what this whole podcast is about. So thanks for listening. I hope you found it interesting and maybe consider coming back for more. But until next time, I've been John, and I'll catch you next time.